Well, hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Living on the B-Side podcast. This is a podcast all about where music plays the central role, and it's about talking to fascinating people who have done really well in life, and just sort of seeing if they might be able to put a bit of a different perspective on their success. And that different angle is obviously the music. So I'm really chuffed and also a little bit nervous. I know I shouldn't be. To welcome Nash Mackey. Hello. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. This is really special because we've known each other for many years now.
We have.
Together, and
yeah, we
it,
definitely have.
I think we've both seen each other grow, and we both it's been amazing. And so I'm so glad that we're having this opportunity to connect and bring some information out to people.
Yes, exactly right. And if we can do that in a bit of a different way, that's even better because I think we need that right now.
That, and I was just saying for anyone listening that the questionnaire that I filled in for this podcast was super impressive, and I got excited just doing that. So I'm excited to see.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good to know. That's the aim of it.
Yeah, good.
Right, Nash. I haven't introduced you, really, so I might just hop onto that before we then go into the whole music angle. Now, as I said, we've known each other for a while, but before I've met you, which was about 3 or 4 years ago, I think, in the flesh.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But before then, I think in a Facebook group or something like that. I know you've been in the military as a combat medic, which is impressive. I mean, anyone that does that, hats off to you guys. You must be mentally and physically up another level. You also said you work in hospitals, had other businesses that you were running along the way, so always a bit of an entrepreneur mind there, I think.
Yes.
But I think things really started to click for you a few years ago when you sort of discovered self-development and started digging into that and working with mentors along the way. I mean, there's some big names. I don't know if you want to mention them. Joel Brown. God, I can't remember. There's all these other ones. I see them in my face, but I can't remember the names, and that's always the same with me.
People.
Yeah, so you've done heaps of work. So, and now I love your title, so to speak, personal performance coach. So maybe we can take it from there, and you can explain what that is, and then we'll see where that leads to.
For sure.
And if I've missed anything, please feel free to mention that too, of course.
No, you've done really well. So yeah, the personal performance coach, like it's like any business. When you move into a business, you're like, what will I call it? How do I stand out? And I've worked with so many different mentors who are like, don't be another mindset coach, don't be another this kind of coach. But then I thought about it, I was like, well, ultimately it comes down to what I feel like I do for people. Now, I most certainly I work heavily on mindset. I work heavily on the subconscious. I work heavily on the vision side of things and many aspects of life. But overall, when I thought about it, I think performance is the word that kind of encompasses everything I do. So it is people's performance. It's their ability to get out in the world and actually perform and show up. And, if you think about military, now I didn't go to war or anything. I just want to say that. I was in the Army Reserves. I was in there since I was 16, 11 months. So I joined just at the legal age. My dad signed me in. Much to his kind of horror, I insisted that I wanted to join. But he eventually signed the dotted line and let me join. And I'm so glad he did, because that took me on a very unique path. I know a lot of people do that as well, but for me, like I always say this, two people can have be in the exact same situation, but they can have two different experiences. Although I know a lot of people did that, I think for me, I was trying to understand the world, because I was homeschooled all my life.
Okay.
Homeschooled all my life as a middle child of 11 children, 5 older, 5 younger. And so I went to college when I was 15. My parents sent me a year earlier because I was really frustrated. And even at college, I was just trying to fit in, and I was trying to figure out an identity for myself. So having the military as an option for me, because I wasn't overly academic, or so I thought in the past. I didn't think I was, compared to my dad who studied, we were speaking about my funky Egypt mug before.
Love it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But we learned things like Greek, Hebrew, Latin. We grew up on that stuff. Like that's what we learned growing up. French. My dad's French. My dad's got a philosophy master's, and he's a very academic man. Yeah, so yeah, he's quite an amazing guy. And my mum is just like, I've got so much love and admiration for both my parents because they've done just such an outstanding, I was going to say outrageous and outstanding job raising us. Like 11 children. I've got 3 myself. I don't know how they did it. But anyway, I got into the military because I just wanted to prove something. I wanted to be seen. And obviously, as I was saying, a huge part of the military is performance, is the ability to show up even in the most insane and intense situations. That's what they're training you for. Now, I trained as a combat medic, and as part of that training, I had to go and work in hospitals. I worked my way up, took all the courses and everything you have to do. Worked my way up till I was doing work experience in hospitals. And then that led me to actually working in operating theatre. So I worked for full time in operating theatre for 2 years.
Wow.
Before I was 20, I was moving dead bodies. I was cleaning up, operating theatres, and everything that goes along with that. So,
wow. That's amazing.
Straight into it. So when it comes to performance, I know I'm waffling on a bit here, but essentially,
that's okay. It's interesting because I sort of think about performance, and I know we've chatted before I hit record about you playing the guitar. So that kind of makes sense now that you obviously performance is such a key thing in your life and how you show up, that it makes sense that you've become one of the best in the course you've taken. So
absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. And it's about performing on purpose. So that's the way I read it. It's performing on purpose. It's not just showing up and doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. It's actually doing stuff that allows you to live a great life, that allows you to have a great impact. And if people can just allow themselves to do that and do whatever's required to make that happen, that's the opportunity we all have. We all have the opportunity to kind of get those two things aligned.
That's right.
It comes down to your ability to show up and make it happen. So that's what I help people do.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I known for myself quite a while back. I don't really see myself as a coach. Don't think I ever want to be one. So, but it's always interesting and fascinating to hear each coach's story. So that for me is, I always absorb so much. And that's why I love you guys, what you do and how you help people. So hats off to you for doing all the hard work and helping us as clients out.
Well, my goodness, you do so much hard work, and everyone's got their zone, and so
exactly.
You've got your zone of genius as well, which I know you're incredibly good at.
I'm doing my best, as we all do, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks for that. I think that was really interesting to get a bit of a background on, your journey to how you got here. But let's move into a bit more like music. And I know you said the questionnaire got you a little triggered in a good way.
Yeah.
And I love your answers that you put down, but we're going to come to that a little bit later, I think. I just want to ask, first off, does music play a big part in your life overall? And if so, how?
Oh, I love this question. If you see my YouTube, I've got so many different playlists. They're private. I keep them because they're very tailored to me. But I've got playlists for meditation. I've got playlists for working out. I've got playlists for writing. I've got playlists for just family time. I've got playlists for dinner, cooking. I've got so many. I love music. So music. Yeah. I come from a very, very musical family. That was the other thing that we were allowed to do. So I've got my oldest brother. He's got his fellowship in church organ playing. Plays church organs all around the world.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, multiple brothers who play the violin. I've got sisters who sing. I played a bit of guitar. My mum and dad, they met in a band. So,
There you
yeah.
go. There's your red line there.
Yeah, that's right. So, like music's just been a massive part of my life. And I know my life's better when I have music in it. Like I do my best to invite music into my life as often as possible because there's something about it.
Yeah. I find the same thing. I notice when I don't have music on a regular basis, then I somehow feel down, and there's just something missing. So, and I love the fact that you say you got different playlists for different times of your day.
Yeah.
So like the meditation, I almost guessed that one.
Yeah.
I thought that might be, and that's there's some really nice stuff out there that's really calming and centering. So what do you listen to when you, let's say, cook, for example, or when you write? Is there any like massive difference?
Yes, massive difference for me. So I would have, so for example, with cooking, I have some. It's more like kind of cafe mixes. Like you'll hear, I like those on YouTube. So it's kind of like, it's got a beat. It's kind of like a little bit fast paced. Kind of good background music. It's good background music. Versus when I'm writing, like I love movie soundtracks. I actually wanted to do film directing for many years, and I believe in the future I will combine what I do with film directing. Yeah, that speaks to you, obviously.
Oh God, yeah. It's amazing when you just mute a movie without the music.
Yeah.
It is so different.
Yes.
So different, and just the skill of being able to write that and then having an orchestra actually make that reality, it gives me goosebumps. It's just amazing. I'm in awe of these people.
Who's your favorite movie composer?
Look, I've never really looked into the composers itself. For me, it's literally just feeling the music when it happens. But those two that you've mentioned, when I looked them up to make sure I knew them properly, I'm like, yes, that makes complete sense. So, and while we're at it, we might as well mention their names, because otherwise, I don't know if people saw Dunkirk, which is a fantastic movie, or 1917, which is, again, fantastic, not just from a movie but music perspective. So, and there's heaps more. So there's Hans Zimmer, which is obviously a German, and just the other one mentioned. I think it was Hans Zimmer and Thomas Newman.
Thomas Newman, yes. I was trying to remember. I was like, which one was it? Yeah, Thomas Newman. He's absolutely phenomenal. And you were saying about writing music. Yeah, so a lot of Thomas Newman's music. Yeah, like both those guys, I love their music. And they're just two. It was actually really challenging coming up with, like, picking, because I could have had so many. I love so many different people's music. But yeah, definitely a lot of the classical side of things. I actually enjoy that, but I don't get too much into like opera singing or something like that. I appreciate it, but
yeah, that's a whole other skill set, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I also find that, maybe you agree with me on that one, that with sort of more the classical music, the way they really sort of get your emotions going, I find that fascinating.
Yes.
How they are so subtle sometimes. They can just get you from laughing hysterically to crying like in a corner within like that.
Yep.
So I find that amazing, and that must mean they have a skill. Like they must study psychology to a certain degree to be able to know how to do that.
Yes.
So I don't know. So yeah,
that makes sense. And I think the other part of that is just when a composer is writing music from their heart, like like when something's really stirring you, I think it naturally stir other people. Like any creation we see, it's like you see a carving or something, or a statue that they've just done it from their heart and from their soul, and they've created something, and that stirs other people. It can't not, because we see it speaks to us on a deeper level. We just know.
Yeah.
Like you look at, you go on.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, no, finish your sentence. Now I'm going to ask a question after. That's okay.
Yeah, that's right. It's like looking at any nice piece of artwork. You just that really moves you. You don't have to. Could have been some young teenager who did it, but they were doing it from that place of creation, and we recognize that as humans. And that's actually one thing I say about the pyramids, since we're speaking of Egypt, is people are drawn to greatness. People are just drawn to looking and standing in front of incredible monuments, and these incredible feats that humans have created. Even a particular person, like it's like a busker in the mall. Like you'll hear someone playing a beautiful piece of music in the mall, or you'll see someone dancing. You'll just see someone performing. Like humans are drawn to it because it speaks to something that's inside each and every one of us. And that's, when I coach people, I talk about that's the opportunity we all have. We have the opportunity to become certain types of people who cause something to stir in others. Their own greatness to awake when they look at us. I'm not from a place of ego or wanting significance, but just because if you're not stepping into greatness in your life, what are you doing with your life? What are you spending your life doing?
Yeah. But again, that can be so hard to recognize for yourself. Yeah. I think that could be a whole nother topic in itself. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. And from personal experience, I know how hard that can be to get to that point where you think, well, I do have something to contribute.
Yes.
And recognizing that you're actually, even the little bits you do, have an impact on others.
Yes.
So that can be really hard to for people, I think, to understand. So, and that's why I think for me, the music is like a support thing that can lift you in that direction. That's how I sort of look at it. It's not the center point of everything. It's probably like a tool that's hidden in disguise. So, and that's why I was just curious to know, like, when you have a bad day or a good day, what tunes would you put on? Or if you've got some big speaking engagement coming up, or you have a group coaching program that you're going to launch, is there anything that you might subconsciously do that involves music and you don't even realize you're actually doing it, but it's there to give you that little bit of extra nudge or edge?
Yeah, I would say that I, like, before actual events or big or presenting in front of a larger audience, I have silence. I'm very silent because I want it to come from my heart. Whatever I'm going to say, I want it to come from my heart. There's a time for music, and I would use music like up to maybe half an hour before, and I'd usually use that while I work out, like while I train. Usually the way it works for me is I'll do prep for a particular event or whatever, prepare it all. I'll then just drop everything, like get away from the laptop. I'll go and train intensely, and I listen to music during that. So like I'm getting that emotional connection and obviously getting blood flowing, and then nice ice shower, cold shower, especially down here in Tassie. We've got some nice snow on the mountain over there. Nice cold shower, and then straight into the call. Like that's the way I like to roll. So music's definitely a part of it. And the music workout playlist is I don't listen to Hans Zimmer when I'm working out.
I can't imagine that, to be honest, either. You probably need something with a bit more beats per minute or something like that.
That's right. Yes, I like my my house mixes and techno mixes. I do that. Yeah.
That's interesting. Very interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Now, I was sort of thinking about questions to ask you that sort of fit into a bit more of your sort of coaching angle.
Yeah.
And one that actually I came up with in the shower, out of all places, which is probably one of the best places to come up with ideas anyway, is, do you think that with music, can that help us with the visual, and that's a word I always struggle with, visualization process? Here we go. And maybe the coaching journey that we go on as a client to find not our purpose, but just to get us to the next goal. Could that be sort of like a support tool along the way? And if so, how would you think that could work?
Yeah, definitely. Because music stirs emotion. It causes inside of you, and so if you think about a vision, if you think about creation, it's coming from something beyond just the thinking mind. It's something deeper, and so kind of sometimes to activate those deeper parts of you, you do need to cut through the noise, and music's just a great way to cut through the noise and really help you. Like you would, I think it was one of your questions at least hinted at the fact that you need a soundtrack for your life. Like, that's really important. Like, you can have a soundtrack for your vision, and it's a good way to kind of anchor in your vision. If you struggle with visualization, have a soundtrack that you do listen to, and then you imagine a particular scene, like you play it out. You actually create your own mental movie with a soundtrack. Like that's incredibly powerful, because again, the more enrolled you can get in your visualization, the more enrolled you can get in that vision before it happens, the sooner it is going to happen. I can tell you that. If you've got an emotion attached to anything, like the stronger the emotion attached to any experience, how that experience gets remembered. So if you can have an incredibly strong emotion when you're doing visualization around creating something you want, that will actually get remembered and stored by the mind, because your mind's like, this must be important because there was a strong emotion with it. Yeah, music is very, very powerful for visualization, definitely. One thing I'll say on that note, though, when it comes to meditation, even though meditation's, and this is something I'm challenging people with recently, because I see a lot of apps and I see a lot of heavy reliance on technology and apps when it comes to meditation. So I'm actually encouraging my clients now to meditate without music or apps. App producers will hate me for saying this, but I'm really about seeing people tap into their own strength and their own ability to direct themselves. And I find, now there's a time, and you can do both. You can do some meditations, but I just encourage sometimes for people to learn how to just be silent and still with themselves and direct their mind and focus their mind. Because if you always need that music and you don't have that music for some reason, you'll struggle.
Yes, I noticed that, because the app I used to use for meditation no longer works. And then I'm like, what do I do? But yeah, sometimes I think silence is music in itself. Yes, because you let your own soul sing.
I like that. Wow, that's good. Yeah. There you go.
So maybe that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So maybe you can tell it to your clients. Don't worry about the apps. Create your own song in your meditation.
Yes, I love that. Good reframe.
Exactly. No, I just had to laugh when you said a soundtrack to your own life. And I don't know, this happens to me constantly. One of my favorite soundtracks is the Top Gun one. And for some reason, Danger Zone always comes in. And I don't know why, but there's something so powerful about it. Like, and I find that, is there anything that sort of, when someone says, oh, what's the soundtrack of your life? Is there any song or any movie soundtrack or anything that comes to mind, apart obviously from Hans Zimmer and I mean, they're powerful, but apart from that, is there anything else that might not be classical related?
That's a good question. I would say, for me, it would have to be classical. Like, it has to be that movie. Like, one of my other favorite soundtracks in the world is the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. Absolutely love it. So Howard Shore.
Wow.
Those movies really stirred my soul as a child. Like, I think I was 11 when I saw the first one. And yeah, they spoke to me. That's really what led me to want to become a film director. And I think that still plays out in my mind now. Like, you look at the actual Lord of the Rings. Are you familiar with the Lord of the Rings?
I admit I've never seen them.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of the few that's never seen them, but I've only heard good things about them, so I might have to make the time and watch them and listen.
It's also you going a little off topic here, but I think it's relevant. Like the deepest story behind it, like Tolkien, the guy who wrote them, he wrote them in the trenches while he was in the trenches.
Oh, okay.
So, and everything he speaks about, and kind of the whole story is around, based on, like, the main character's based on Hitler, like the evil character, and then there's this thing versus good and evil, and so it's quite a beautiful story.
Okay.
And how the hope of the world, Middle Earth, in the case of Lord of the Rings, is literally resting on two little hobbits, who are these tiny little guys who have to carry the ring and destroy this ring. And all the fate of Middle Earth is on these two little people. So I think it's quite a beautiful story for people who feel that, maybe their lives aren't as important as other people for some reason, because every life is important. But for someone who has that belief, I feel like that movie can be very awakening, to show the strength. And it's got so many beautiful elements to it. Around the fellowship, like it's the Fellowship of the Ring, like that's the first one. It is that group, that support system to try and get this mission done. So I find like that probably still plays out a lot in my subconscious with the work I do now. Like I still kind of run those things.
And then obviously the music that supports that whole storyline and just highlights it more with that, Yeah,
absolutely beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah, you make me want to watch it now. I think maybe the length put me off, because they're pretty long each movie, isn't it?
They are very long. We're actually, my wife, she wasn't as big a fan as me, but she's kind of come around to them now, and we're actually in the middle of doing a bit of a Lord of the Rings, what would you call it, marathon? I guess it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That is a marathon,
So we watch about half an hour of an evening when we finish all our routines and the kids are in bed. We kind of give ourselves half an hour a night where we're watching, and we're loving it. Like every time we watch it, we kind of get more. So it's great.
Yeah, cool. I'll make a note of that, and I'll make sure if we have a bad Melbourne weekend to maybe put that on for a change.
Yes.
Cool. I know you've mentioned in the questionnaire you filled out, the Green Mile, which I've seen that one. I've read the book. I'm a big Stephen King fan, so yes, and that's kind of feeds into Lord of the Rings, the same theme. So I can see a little bit of a theme happening for you with like films, and then the music that goes with it, and it fits in nicely with what you do, doesn't it? If you think about it, so everything supports that, and I find that fantastic and amazing at the same time. So
the Green Mile is just one of those movies, and when you're talking about my writing playlist, that's the Green Mile soundtrack's on it. That's a beautiful movie. I think I gave a bit of a description why that was my favorite movie.
Yes, well, maybe you want to mention it again, because I'm sure everyone that's watching or listening would love to hear it, because I loved it, what you wrote. I think it was so relevant.
I'll do my best to remember what I actually wrote.
Okay, otherwise I've got it here if you can't remember it.
I believe what I was talking to in the description there was around, obviously, the guy who's on the Green Mile, the main character who's on the Green Mile, is John Coffey, and he's this big, strong man, and everyone's essentially blaming him for a crime, and he kind of looks like stereotypically that he might have been the person to do it, but he's actually been completely framed. And I like the character Tom Hanks plays, how he has the kind of the balanced mind. He's kind of like the balanced one. In even the prison guards, there's a contrast between the prison guards. There's this super aggressive and really like
evil, almost.
Evil's the word, particularly. And then there's the other ones who are more on the extreme of the evil, like they're kind of more by the book. But Tom Hanks's character is kind of like the balanced one in the middle. Because he's the captain as well, or whatever you want to call it. So he's kind of like between both sides, and he sees this character, John Coffey, come in, and he begins to kind of question it and look at it from a different perspective, and actually look for the answers, and he's actually willing to kind of learn and hear John Coffey's perspective without just going and buying into the judgments that other people have put on John.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really just a beautiful message. He was willing to kind of come up with his own conclusion. And he got to experience the magic, as I said in there. He got to experience John Coffey's magic because John Coffey is his healing power. Yeah. And he got to experience that because he believed in, he was willing to look, he was willing to have an open perspective to other possibilities.
Yeah.
Despite what the world was saying, despite everyone saying he was a criminal, he's a criminal. So I thought that was, a beautiful movie, beautiful movie.
Yeah, I think everyone should probably go and watch that, especially at the moment with what's going on in our world.
Yes, I agree.
I think it's, or read the book if you don't want to watch the movie.
I've never read the books, but do the books do the movie justice?
Or rather, that is, from memory, it does. There's other Stephen King books where the film is absolute rubbish. But this one is definitely, from memory, very close to the book and very, they've translated beautifully into a movie from memory. Yeah. So, yes.
Amazing.
I know. Now, there's one question I always ask towards the end of every chat I have, and that will be, if you would have to choose one song that describes your life or your business the best, which one would that be?
I think I put something similar in the questionnaire, but I don't actually remember what I wrote. So I'm going to say, let's see if I'm consistent.
Yes, test, no.
Oh, yes, now I remember.
I'm sure you do.
It's Now You Are Free. Yeah.
And I've actually went back and listened to that the other night because I thought, do I remember this one? And I remembered it, but I've never put two and two together. I just heard it now and then, and now that you said it's from, oh wow. And yes, it is beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, and then obviously the question is why that song?
Yeah, I think the very name of it, Now You Are Free, like that's what underneath what most people, come to me to work on, underneath why most people are driven, it's because they want to experience some level of freedom. So, and again, if you look at the Gladiator story, it is that kind of underdog. Well, he was, first of all, he was a general, but then he got accused and kind of pushed into a place where he was made to be the underdog, made as the outcast, and he had to work his way back. And he did work his way back, and he worked his way back all the way to the place he wanted to get. It wasn't necessarily probably the most, it was a place where he wanted to take out the emperor, essentially, who had wiped out his family. But for him, it was justice. That was his justice. And he was taking a stand for this guy's evil, so over and above just defending his revenge.
Yeah.
So I think that's a beautiful story, and he experienced freedom. He experienced the freedom when his mission was complete, because he did. He took a stand against the emperor in front of all of Rome on the movie. So I think that's a really beautiful metaphor, and also just obviously the song, because it's obviously the song that's playing while the battle happens at the end of the movie, and it's the general's moment where he reaches that pinnacle. And I think we're always on a journey to find more freedom. We're always on a journey to experience that kind of achievement on some level. Now, there's healthy ways and unhealthy ways we can go about that.
Yes, of course. Yep.
Like what we're talking about here is that achievement because it's for the great good. It's for the great good, taking a stand for something because it benefits the bigger picture. And that is really where freedom comes from. It's from not just doing things for your own benefit, it's from doing things because of how they impact other people. Yeah, that was a really long-winded answer, but that's what started.
It makes sense to me. I got it. I think I got it. Yeah, and that really leads nicely into saying why. Okay, and it's a beautiful song. I don't know what language is it in that song. It sounds more like, but it sounds beautiful when she sings it. Just the words, they sound really strong and centered, and so I see why you picked that one. Awesome. Yes, I think we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. I loved it. Gave me so much food for thought as well. Just to, look at my life a bit different, and, my journey goes on like everyone else's.
And
watch Lord of the Rings, yes.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, so unless there's anything else that comes to mind that you want to mention about, music or anything else, I think we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so. What I would say to everyone is just invite more music into your life.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Make time for that, and
absolutely.
Like a well-lived life comes down to a series of many, many well-lived moments. Mm-hmm. And so if you can make moments more spectacular through music, I would encourage you to do that. And I believe you can. Like, we all have music that stirs something inside of us. And I think if people just allow themselves to do a bit more of that, if nothing else, it makes a profound difference, because you can be completely down and out, and then you listen to a piece of music and your energy is completely shifted.
Yes. I couldn't agree more.
Leverage the power of music more, especially in this time.
Please, yes, do so. That's my only mission, is drum it into people. Doesn't matter what kind of music it is, but as long as it benefits you, makes you feel stronger, happier, excited, whatever it is. Definitely.
It's a good mission.
Absolutely. Well, Nash, thanks so much for coming on. Absolutely loved it. And yes, we're going to put all your links, obviously, somewhere here, so that people can connect with you if they feel like they need their performance enhanced.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thanks so much for being here. I loved it. It was a really great convo.
Yeah, I loved it too. It was awesome to just jam out a bit further, and also kind of have this nice relaxed conversation. This was really fun.
Yes, that's the aim.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Most conversations I have are fairly heavy, heavy in a good way. But so this was refreshing. It was fun. It makes me want to go and put on music.
Oh, fantastic. You're going to go on your bike. I see you go on your bike a lot in the garage, is it?
Yeah, I go on the garage, but that's more reading time. I do my reading, and then I do my workout. The workout. Oh my God.
That could be another conversation in itself, I think. Let's leave it at that. All right. Well, thanks so much, Nash, and keep doing what you do, because I love what you do, and I love watching your journey. So, yes, thanks for being on.
My great pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks. And yeah, for everyone else listening and watching, a new episode is in the making, hopefully soon, and I hope you tune in. Thanks. Bye.